Good morning, you're welcome to another beautiful edition of the show Perspectives. As usual, you know my name is Yinka Kenny. You know that all we do here on Perspectives is to tell you if it happened, it's happening, or it's been talked about. The full gist, we bring it to you here on the show. It's been all about food during the week, and we've had statements from different people, from the federal government, from the Minister of Agric, and we've had a lot of people. You know, Minister of Agric, he said that Nigerians are not starving. I don't know, are you starving? I don't know. Well, I would say I am hungry, in case he's watching, so he will know that some of us are hungry in the country. Well, if you ask for my opinion, I just feel that it bounces back to the fact that governance in Nigeria is far from the people. I hope our government is trying to ease Nigerians of this suffering. I know that sometimes I think in Osun State, thereabout, the president was there and he gave a statement. He said something about he understands the suffering of the people. So it's a bit, it's amazing how the Minister of the Federation would come out to say such a thing. And also during the week, we heard that it was in the news that due to the border closure, Nigeria has gone. The inflation rate of Nigeria has increased by 11.2%. So much to correct in Nigeria today. We just hope that the government of today will see to what's happening in the polity and try to do something about it. Like we used to say when we were younger, or our parents used to say those days, they would say, Nigeria is a land filled with milk and honey. Can we still say that today with the insecurity, the kidnappings, the killings, so many things? We hear that a certain number of soldiers has been given to have been killed by Boko Haram in the nation in the recent times. So many things, so many havocs are happening. I think we just need a smile in Nigeria. We hope we get a smile sometime soon. Well, I won't be doing it well if I don't talk about floods. The floods, they are so much in Lagos State. Anyway, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, he already said that he is doing something, he's going to do something about it. Like I said last week, he said we should let the calls come in, and roads will be under repair, though there's little or nothing that can be done during the rains. Well, it's left to you and to me to make sure that our homes are not flooded. What can we do? A lot we can do. On my way this morning, I saw someone, you know, pouring pouring bean in the gutter. I wonder, and I say to myself, we talk about government. What are you doing? What am I doing to salvage this situation we find ourselves in? The gutter is not a dustbin. Dispose of your debts well, so that we can have a clean drainage. We won't have issues with our drainages. When the water flows very well, at least it's a bit of relief. We are the government. You do your part, I do my part, then we'll have a better Nigeria. Well, safety of lives and property is a very important aspect of human existence. Recently in Nigeria, we have reasons to be really concerned about the state of our security, both home and abroad. From terrorist attacks to armed banditry, even to robbery, kidnappings, and recently xenophobic attack. As if all these are not enough, we are dealing with extrajudicial killings and high-handedness by members of our security forces, which are meant to keep us safe. So, where does our hope lie in? As Nigerians, we all are concerned. Well, during the week, I went out and I engaged well-meaning Nigeria on the issue of security, the xenophobic attack, the kidnappings, and all that is happening in Nigeria presently. We believe that we should not just do the talking. We should begin to walk the talk. Well, I would like you to sit back, don't go anywhere, watch this report and listen to what some of our stakeholders, what they have to say about the insecurity situation in Nigeria and to Nigerians abroad. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Let's start by looking at what security represents. It represents the safety of people and properties. And of course, that is the primary assignment of a community, because when people don't feel safe in a community, they find it difficult to remain in that community. And when we bring it to the governance circle, if you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, it has the obligation of governance encapsulated in 3 major areas. The first one is the security of lives and property. The next one is provision for the people. And the third one is creating an enabling environment. And when all these are ensured, you can boast of a prosperous nation. But when we look at Nigeria and the fact that the insecurity has been sustained for a number of years now, then one should not be surprised that recently we were rated the capital of poverty in the world. Because when you talk about investment, people love to channel their investment funds into a society that is safe. And permit me to quickly pick Singapore, for instance. What Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore was to create a safe environment that attracted the big investors of the world into that region. And do you know what happened? They brought in their own funds to support the efforts of the government. And as we speak today, Singapore, that gained independence in 1965, is the best place to live and to work in the world. And little surprise why Donald Trump met the leader of North Korea in Singapore. And of course, we can learn from that. Let's now go to the other side. You look at what we have in this country. Even to travel into the Federal Capital Territory from Kaduna has been a harrowing experience. Kidnappers, but at a point, some travelers decided to ride by train. But we still have a situation where the train is escorted by an helicopter. And every part of the country now appears to be under siege. And sadly enough, there is a picture of helplessness from the government that is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring security. And do we have the structures in place? Why not? Look at the Ministry of Defense, for example. The defense apparatus of Nigeria, talking about the military, is headed by the Chief of Defense Staff, supported by the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of ES Staff. And they have been well equipped, even though at some point we complain that the insurgents or the terrorists, if you permit me to refer to them as terrorists, were more equipped than our military. And no wonder they overrun some military base in the course of their invasion. And this is a sad narrative. But let's now go to the impact of insecurity. When you look at the Asian region of the world, for example, the 2 poorest countries in Asia are Afghanistan and Yemen. And of course, these are countries that are plagued by terrorism. And you want to consider the richest region in Asia. You talk about the Asian tigers, or otherwise called the Asian dragons. And you are talking of Singapore, you're talking of Taiwan, you're talking of Hong Kong. that are very rich because they have secured their environment. We all know that there is no perfectly secured country in the whole world. But you can try and fight back and ensure that for the purpose of prosperity, you secure your environment. But I understand that a former head of state in Nigeria, in the person of Sani Abacha, General Sani Abacha late, once disclosed that when insurgency is sustained beyond a length of time, that probably the government is involved in it. You know, we quickly roll away these accusations. But personally, there was a time the General Theophilus Danjuma, a retired chief of defense staff himself, disclosed that the military is colluding with the criminals, you know, the bandits killing people and the herdsmen, and he alleged an attempted ethnic cleansing. And at that point in time, the military set up a panel to probe that allegation, and even though they denied it, he was not taken up by the government as somebody giving a wrong information. And if you look at the impact on our economy, it will amaze you. Recently, the rate of unemployment, you know, shot to around 25%. And when you talk of America, for example, the rate of unemployment is about 3.6%. Because if you look at the abundant natural resources of this country, even if Nigerians decide not to invest in these resources, foreigners are willing to invest. But even in the course of this week, some expatriates were kidnapped in, I think, in Rivers State. So where do we go from here? But then, I'm glad that the people are beginning to rise up to challenge this traumatic situation, because whether you believe it or not, right now, and I repeat, right now in Nigeria, people are on edge. I mean, definitely our country appears to be under a siege. But to anchor the whole issue, I recall that when this government was contesting towards the 2015 election, they gave three major promises. The first was to fight corruption. The second was to work on the fumbling economy, and the third was security. And I had a great trust in President Muhammadu Buhari, firstly as a retired military head of state and a retired general in the army. But I must confess that with the sustained level of insecurity in this country, I have my doubts. But we just keep praying that somewhere along the line, the right leadership will come that will secure lives and properties, provide for the people effectively, and create an enabling environment that will change our narrative from poverty to prosperity. God bless Nigeria.
What do we say of the South Africans killing Nigerians? The recent one, the Igbo man was traced, you know, even up to his doorstep, and he was butchered, murdered there by a South African.
I don't support jungle justice.
So do you think?
And that is why,
enough in that
of course, yeah.
What are they doing?
They can't be.
The minister is not even talking.
Look,
yes,
you know how South Africa. You know how large.
To the minister of,
you know how large South Africa is. And do you know that Nigerians are in every corner of South Africa? If you are in Pretoria, how do you cover the whole of South Africa? Do you tell Nigerians don't go out when they have to run after they are deliberate? In the process, do you know what they have done?
Is that justified for killing?
If you go against the law of that land. If they said,
is that a justifiable reason for jungle justice?
That's not jungle justice.
I'm talking about the South African xenophobic attack now.
I don't support them. They honestly, Nigerians government are supposed to hold on to that. Not the embassy. There's a little embassy can do.
That's what I'm saying.
It should be between government and government. We have sent our ministers there. The president has spoken to their president. The diplomats have been interacting among themselves on this issue.
By the time he said you're under arrest and you voluntarily submit yourself to custody, nobody harass you, nobody molests you, you go into custody, fine. By the time you're dragging, all over the world, police will definitely pick
because Nigerians are naturally
police,
biased.
Police will definitely pick you. No, the person is aware. There is no criminal element that will like to wait for you to pick him. As soon as they know that they will be arrested and they will go to court, they will resist you and find a way to escape. Then you find a way, another instance where the person is not resisting. He has actually submitted himself to custody. But youths or some hoodlums they don't even know why the police were after him. They will just come and take over and attack the police. And let me tell you, naturally all over the world, if you as a human being perceive that force will be used on you, you will first apply force to resist that force. It's a natural phenomenon.
But that's why, overseas, you don't see their policemen carrying ammunition all over.
So you have to look at it. Whether he's using a baton or he's using a gun, he will apply force. He will apply force. If he perceives that you are using force, you are going to apply force on him because he's human. So whether he's a police officer or not, a human being naturally will like
the human factor.
The human factor in him will come up that I will be harmed by this person if I don't resist it, if I don't fight back.
So you're saying that if we are not settled at home here in Nigeria, then the xenophobic attack, there's nothing we can do about it.
We look as if we don't value.
We
Nigerians look as if we don't value our own lives. That's how we look to the rest of the world. We look as if we don't value the lives of our citizens and that our lives are cheap and worthless. So they treat us exactly like that. That's the reason. When Obasanjo was in charge, did you hear of South Africans attacking Nigerians in xenophobic frenzies? When Jonathan was in charge and they did it, do you remember what happened? Do you remember? South African companies were being asked to leave. And they had to apologize and beg, and it came to a stop. It never happened again during the Jonathan administration. But in the Buhari administration, has a word been said in protest by the government of Nigeria? Has the South African ambassador been hauled in by the Ministry of External Affairs? No, because they don't value the lives of Nigerians, because they themselves are killing Nigerians with their policies.
Our Honorable Minister, the Special Advisor for, Diaspora Affairs, Honorable Abike Dabiri, she had always come out at every point in time to talk about these killings, to bear her mind about these killings. There was a time she even went abroad and she said things about these killings, and she came out openly and went against this killing. Do you think she's not making an attempt?
She's not speaking at a ministerial level. She's not the minister responsible for foreign affairs in Nigeria. And so governments across the world will not take her seriously. Do you understand? They will not take her seriously.
We see that Nigerians abroad, they have not been spared either. We have heard of several killings outside the country, in South Africa, the xenophobic attack, the deaths, and it's really alarming, and it's becoming so frightening. It's almost a case of you're not safe at home, you're not safe abroad. What do you think should be the appropriate response, to all this, overseas killings and all that?
Yes. The problem there again is fundamental. I can be traced to leadership again. You see, these people who are going out, many people are going out of the country. And they are going out not because they just want to go out. It is because things are not good enough for them. They cannot take care of themselves. The government cannot take care of them. The people, the environment, the government has not given them an environment where they can actually work and take care of themselves. That's why they are forced to go out. Many of them go out not because they just want to. If you remember that before this Ghana must go era, Ghana was very bad shape. The Ghanaians were all over here in Nigeria. I remember I hired about 3 of them, and we were all there for the taking, and just give them pittance. Because Ghana was very badly wrong.
But sir,
now Ghana must go, Ghana must go, Ghana must go, because just because they came here.
So you're pushing the bulk of the blame to the government also now.
Is this the government?
But sir,
let me tell you.
Okay.
When we say, why did we say Ghana must go? It's a kind of xenophobia. It's not as bad as it is in South Africa and all that now. When it happened
when it was in Nigeria.
Yes, but it is also xenophobia, because we felt that these Ghanaians were coming here, and what were they doing? Menial jobs. They will take off. They will work in the poultry farms, wash your cars and all that. In spite of that, people felt that they were taking their job.
Welcome back to the show. The show is still Perspectives. Here, if it happened, it's happening, it's being talked about. The gist is here on Perspective. That was all about insecurity. Well, we just hope moving on, Nigeria will get better someday. You know that we don't ever leave the studio without telling you what's going on the social media. Social media. Quickly, I want to run through the social media. Sam Onemu is on Twitter. He's saying that Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, along with Wole Soyinka's mom, gathered the women of Abeokuta and they drove major social transformations. Yet, the only thing I was taught in school is that she was the first woman to drive a car. Well, she's done so many things, and amidst all, he is saying that the only thing he got to know, and which emphasis was being laid upon, is that she was the first female to drive a car. Maybe we should begin to advertise other things that she did in her lifetime. We know that she did so many beautiful things, and that's why even in death today she lives on. Dr. Joe Abba on Twitter is saying that the certainty with which people who have never lived abroad talk about how life is abroad is funny. I'll just say 2 things. Whatever you do, don't emigrate illegally. If you do, you'll get to know what real suffering is. If you do legally, right off the first 5 years. Wow. Well, Dr. Joe Abba giving us a piece of advice there. And I think I want to say that I agree so much with his advice. If you have to go, go well. Don't go anyhow. Go the right way. But he is saying that if you go the right way, you're on your own for the first 5 years. Well, Larry Wafula on Twitter is saying that stop giving children Bible names without Bible lessons. Yesterday, I was robbed by Abraham. So don't just take children to church. Let the church, make an impact, make a difference in the children. Juni Diligent, she's saying that, okay, there's an interviewer that is saying, how does it feel as a female producer navigating a male-dominated industry? And she responded saying that, I don't feel like a female producer. I only feel like a producer, a badass one at that, period. What's the next question? And I like that response. A producer is a producer. With all the beautiful profession, when you find a woman there, you now begin to classify. You say she's a female doctor, she's a female lecturer. A lecturer is a lecturer, a doctor is a doctor, even if she's a male or a female. Thank you for that one. Then we have another one from Single Lady. She's saying that do not trust the humility of a broke guy. Do not trust the loyalty stroke love of a broke guy. Poverty forces a man to be to be humble and to do what he hates for survival. Wait until he has money, then see if he will still remain humble. Wow. That's a good one. If he will still remain humble, money is a revealer of character. That's a very good advice. Make sure he has money before you go ahead with that marriage, because you don't want to be caught up with surprises when you are married. That's all we can take on the show this morning. The show is Perspectives. Abby was not on the show this morning. I'm sure he'll be around next week. If you can connect with us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Watch Perspectives, on Twitter at See Perspectives. You can follow me also on Facebook at Yinka Kenny World, on Twitter and Instagram at Yinka Kenny 1. You have questions for me this week, please send it to our WhatsApp line 0810-851-6644, 0810-851-6644. I really apologize this morning. For some reasons, we cannot take your calls. We can't read your messages. But I promise you, if I get your messages when I come your way, same time, same station next week, I will read your messages out. I am Yinka Kenny. See you next week. Thank you.
There is bombing and killings everywhere.